Hi, thanks for joining this short little video. In this video, I want to get into the 4 factors that really accelerate your profitability in your business. Through my time as a coach and a consultant through all the years and all my clients, I've realized that the tools haven't been available and the education piece hasn't been there for these business owners to really impact their business. So it's my mission and my passion to really educate you. Your biggest investment is your business, and I really want you to understand that your business should be producing more in returns than the stock market or your stocks or your 401k or anything like that, because you have 100% control on that. And if you don't have control over your stocks, and you have control of your business, you should be outperforming your stocks. So grab a piece of paper and a pen, and we'll take some notes. And I really hope this video is transformational for you, informational for you, and you can implement these strategies right away. So a little bit about me. My name is Brian Norton, and I am the founder of Norton Results. My passion is to educate. I will never, ever sell you anything. I promise you I'll never sell you anything. Now, I grew up extremely poor. I grew up on food stamps, and I was 12 years old standing in line with my mother, and she was tearing out the food stamps as the coupon book and handing them there. And I said to myself, I don't ever want to be in this position. So really, that kind of drove me to where I went in my future life, and my drive is I just didn't want to be there. And she struggled with 3 kids and a single mom. And so I joined the military, spent some time in the military, loved it, loved every aspect of it, gave me my discipline to go through. I got out. I've got 20 plus years experience with owning businesses, selling businesses, and 16 plus in coaching and helping clients. I put my way through school, got my MBA in finance, and then I've served over 1,500 clients in my career. It's been awesome, and it's been a great journey, and I've loved every single one of them. Whether or not we went forward or not, it's been fun. So let's get really kind of into this, and let's ask yourself this question. Now, when you go into this, are you experiencing any of these, and do you want the better half of this? So when you talk about that, you go, my profit margins are low, or I've got employee issues, or I've got productional issues, I've got operational issues, I've got foundational issues, all that stuff. But when you put the 4 factors into business that I'm going to talk about here in a minute, you will start taking that journey to better profits, better organization, more time freedom, and all that stuff. So I want you to do that and take yourself and imagine yourself from where you're at today in 3 to 4 to 6 months, where you will be when you implement these 4 aspects into your business, because that is what you want to do. And I've got so many success stories for clients taking it from $1.6 million to $50 million, and $5 million with 2% profitability to $5 million with 28% profitability. So it's all about that journey, and every business is different and unique, and where you're at in your journey. So let's get into this. The key reasons for business failure, right? Here we go. How often do you go to the doctor, the dentist, or change the oil in your car? Probably yearly, every few thousand miles, whatever. When was the last time that you have had a business checkup? When was the last time you had somebody come in unbiased and really look at your business and say what's wrong? Whether your business is thriving or not, there's always some issues that can be addressed. And that's kind of like the doctor that comes in and goes, you know what, you're at stage 1 or stage 2 cancer or anything like that. But your biggest asset, you've never had checked up. And if you have, congratulations, you're one of the less than 1% that has. So when you get into this, why you fail is because you get what you tolerate. And that is tolerating behavior in yourself. That's allowing yourself to tolerate the actions, and then you get mad at your employees or get mad at other people because they're doing things, and the reason you're really mad at them is because you're mad at yourself for tolerating that. So stop tolerating that behavior, because that's what you get when you do it. So a quick story, I had a client that I told him that exact same thing, and he told me to get out of his office. And so a couple years later, he calls and says, Brian, he goes, I got to tell you, what you told me that day was just transformational for me, because he goes, I was mad, my ego got in the way, you hurt my pride, all that stuff. I go, I get it, I understand. And he goes, but I couldn't sleep for a couple nights because I kept thinking about that. And he goes, the moment I put that in my mind, I got to stop tolerating that and stop tolerating my own behavior. He goes, my business has went leaps and bounds from where it was. And he goes, and I really wanted to call him and thank you. I was very surprised, but at least it resonated with him and we got to go forward. Now, here are the top 10 reasons why people fail, right? Because you don't plan, you got poor infrastructure, it's just crazy on why we fail and why we don't have this. Our cash flow is poor, our operations are poor, our management's poor, our ownership is poor. We don't know our customer. We don't know how to sell. We don't have a good offer. We don't, because we got into business without really jumping into business and understanding this. And this is why I made this video, is to get you to that point. Now, 90% of people cannot answer these questions. And this is my research, because this is coming from the clients that I've worked with. So number one is, what is your break even? How do you calculate break even? And understanding your break even, and once you get that, you will be able to run your business profitably and budget on a profitability aspect. What does it cost you to acquire a client, a customer? How much is that? And what is what is a customer's lifetime value to you? What does it cost you to acquire and train an employee? Because that is where you go, okay, if it costs me $50,000 for this employee for training and all that stuff, and he wants $1 an hour raise or whatever that is, and you fire him, and now that's in your mind, that's a cost that you're going to have to incur. So you understand that. So understanding that, do you price your products right? Do you even know how to price your products with profit? Most people don't know profit first, but you should start doing profit first. You'll never go out of business. You'll never do that if you do profit first, unless the industry goes out. So do you know where you're at in your industry? Do you know what the average is and what they're doing? And are you average, above average, or below average? And did you get into business to be above average, below average, or average? That's up to you. Also, you have to understand, into this, and I've gotten this so many times, they look at their profit and loss sheet and go, man, I've got $100,000 at the end of the year. I don't know where it's at, and I got to pay taxes on this. Does that sound familiar? And the reason why is because you forgot your debt that's on your balance sheet, because you're paying that debt on your balance sheet from the profitability of the business. So you got to pay taxes on that, and you have the balance sheet out here, right? So if you can take your debt service and add that back into your pricing, then you have a true profitability at the end of the year, right? So in your pricing should cover your debt service, so you still have profit at the end of the year. And I hope that one tip right there kind of goes off in your head and goes, man, I didn't realize that. I didn't understand that. Take your debt service, add that into your pricing. You will always be covering your debt, and you won't have to worry about at the end of the year, I got this money and where did it go? That's where it's at. So as a business owner, we want to take this assessment for ourselves. Where do I stand? Well, I can't do, won't do, can't do, will do, all this kind of things, and then assess where you're at into each category in the business, and then say, okay, this is where I'm at. I don't want to do this. Then you have to delegate and push that out. And this is a great assessment for each one of your employees and each one of your managers to see if they're really there. Now let's get into, do you feel like a fireman? You're always putting things out. It's always there. So here we get into the nuts and bolts of what I developed. You see this? This is the responsibilities of the owner. This is what we have to do. We're the head janitor, head maintenance man, head this, head that. We're the do-all, end-all, be-all, and that's not even on this script. But if you look at this, you'll see management, you'll see sales, you'll see operations, and you'll see finance. Those are my 4 quadrants for my crosshairs of profit. And let's get into that real quick. So the crosshairs of profit is, in your business, you have to manage the business. So you have to lead the business. You have to work on the business, not in the business. So when you get into the business, you're working like the $20 an hour task. You're working in the business. You want to work on the business, right? You have to have a good sales team. You have to have good operational structure. You have to good and sound financial management, and that's where we get into right here. Okay, so here we are in the crosshairs of profit. You'll see the four quadrant: the sales, the operations, the finance, the management, right? So let's get work, do work, get paid, and then manage it through the process through it. So are we pricing correctly? Are we estimating correctly? Have we been able to take into consideration of inflation, lag time of supply and demand? Do we understand our customer? Do we know who our customer is? And most of my clients don't even know who their customer is, right? They think they know, but they haven't done a deep dive into who your customer is and how they buy and their purchasing habits and what triggers them to do their things that they want to do. And so when you get into your operations piece of it, then you go, does my operations, however it is, service or what is it, do I have systems in place? Where are my bottlenecks? Where are my efficiencies? So when you get into your operations part of this, I like to look at it as three things: my sales, my operations, and my finance. And they all have to coincide together like this. So if I have a massive increase if I have a capacity for my sales to here, but my operations is here, I need to get more efficient and hire more people or be more lean in my operations to kind of come back up here. Or if I sell this much and I can only output this much, I'm going to have this many upset customers or clients because I can't get them through the bottleneck. Or I have a good sales, I have good operations, and my finances down and my cash flow's down here. I can't finance the new sales. So that tells me then that I've got to if I have a cash flow problem, that means I am not pricing my product correctly, or I'm allowing my ARs, my accounts receivable, to slip out there a little bit longer. I'm not getting paid for what I should be getting paid. Now, in a down economy, in a recession, and when inflation comes up, people stretch those payments out. So will you be ready if this hits, that you will be able to continue and have the cash flow to keep that output going through? So you really want to go into where are my bottlenecks into my business and understand that. So if you take your sales and you just go right down that sales list and go, okay, do I know everything about my customer? Am I pricing it correctly? Am I estimating it correctly? Am I pricing for the profit? All those good things. And you go, check, got it. Perfect. Take it into your operations. Now you go into my operations. Do I have efficient systems in place? Is the organization great? Is the foundation set to where I can actually grow if I need to? Or what do I need to do to improve my operations? And if that's it, then you put that in there and go check. Then you go into your financial aspect of it, and when you're looking into your financial aspect, you go, do I have the financial capabilities to fund the business growth or decline or stretching out? And you got to get on top of that right away. Check. Then you go into your management, and then you say, is my management ready? Is my management prepared? Are they able to lead from the front and the back? Where are they at? And then you go check. When you have these four things into your business operating harmoniously, then it gets into that bullseye, and then that bullseye just gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and that's where the green is, and that's all the profits. Because if you're lacking in your operations, it's sucking that profit out, right? If you're lacking in your sales, it's sucking that profit out. If you're lacking in your finance, it's sucking that profit out. If you're lacking in your management, it's sucking that profit out. So you really want to get honed in on those four things and then get through it. Now, when you do this, and let's get into the next slide. So talking about those four quadrants again, it's sales, which is getting work, 2, operations, 3 is finance, and then 4 is your management issue. So those are the four things, and I kind of put them in a box so you kind of understand where the capacity is at and where our bottlenecks are at. So when our bottlenecks are, we just have to figure that out. So when you're running efficiently on our sales, then it could be operational. So where's our throughput? How much can we get to the end? How much are we lacking? What's our capacity and on each one of these things? And then that tells us how we can go through the through the rest of our year and in our future, and how we plan for the future. So now, after going through all of those things and those 4 things. And if you put those 4 things, and please pause, rewind, and take as much notes as you want. And if you want some of these slides, I can send them to you. That's no problem. I'm here to educate you. But every business is different. Every business has a different character. Every business has everything, right? So when we look at that, we go, if I'm an electrician, my business operates different than that other electrician and that other electrician. So we all have our own little unique problems or picadillos or whatever we want to call it. So we're all different, and nothing is one size fits all. So don't ever let anybody tell you what it is, because these numbers are different for each and every one of you. And so that's why it's very important to understand your numbers, but gauge where you are in the industry, but see on your numbers how you can improve and use those 4 quadrants to get where you want to go. Now, when is it time to take action? Well, you should always be taking action, right? Because why do you go to the dentist? Why do you go to the doctor? And why do you get your oil changed, right? You're always doing preventive maintenance on everything you have. So you should always be looking at your business, always be looking and seeing what's going on. Even your professional athletes have coaches. Like, you think about every pro that you would ever know, they have a coach. All of these successful multi-millionaires and billionaires and businesses, they all have mentors and coaches, because they see things that we don't see as owners. As owners, we come in with our blinders on, we're seeing it this way, but a coach can come in and show us so much more that we're not even seeing. So that is when is it time to get help? Because I'm telling you, business problems aren't unique to you. We all have them. I have them, and especially if you have employees, you have business problems. So when we look at this, ego and pride gets in the way, right? So ego and pride, revenue builds ego. Profit builds wealth. And I'll say that again. Revenue builds egos. Profit builds wealth. Every one of my clients I walk up, what are you doing a year in revenue? And what's your revenue number? Oh, I'm a $5 million company. I'm a $2 million company. I'm a whatever $1 million company. I go, great. Now what's your profit? I don't know, about 2%. I go, wow. Why are we so happy to say we're a $2 or $5 million company, but we're not very happy to say, oh, I'm at 2%? Because that's a lot of work for just a little bit. And if you think about what your percentage is, let's say you're under 5%, and think about all of that work you're doing for 5 cents on the dollar, 2 cents on the dollar. For every dollar that comes in, your net profit, that's how many pennies you get to keep. So if you're doing 20% profitability, well, for every dollar that comes in, you get 20 cents, and you get to put that in your pocket. So how hard are you working for that, for each one of those dollars? That will drive you, and that'll get you going. So we need to get to the next one. So I'm glad you stayed with me for this entire call, or this video. I am offering a free 30-minute strategy call. I'm gonna tell you, it's $1,000, whatever it is. It's extremely priceless, because on the call, I'm gonna dig into your 4 pillars or your 4 quadrants of your business, your management, your sales, your operations, and your finance. We're gonna dig into your break even and how to calculate it for your business. We're gonna get into how you're pricing your products and what you can do to increase your profitability, increase your revenue, and then and then walk you through your pricing as well. So this call, it's not a sales call. It's just it's a one-on-one 30-minute to get you to where you need to go. If you don't know these numbers and how to calculate it, we'll calculate them I will do it for you for very quickly. I don't have a whole lot of time on my calendar, so when it does, you can just book it. You can book a call below, or reach out to me and we'll get you on the call. But anyway, at least have the call, because when we get through the call, it really is important that you understand these numbers in your business, and then what you should be managing, and then implement them. And that's the hard part, is really implementing. But anyway, thank you. I wish you all the success in the world.